birds here, no more wolves or buffalo, no Pequods, just feral Europeans and their residual spawn of McDonald's and Pizza Hut. We flourish here on our own offal. Mother Earth will fix our wagon. She'll digest us like a Kentucky fried biscuit. Our civilization plays on a TV set. Our civilization plays like a TV set. In a sparsely populated barroom, the barkeep mindlessly dries glasses while reading a gossip magazine. None of the patrons stir at all, not Jesus or Buddha or Yahweh. They're all too patient to intervene. I'm plucking at the last remnants of chicken while awaiting the check, when suddenly my gloomy musings are overshadowed by an idea that pulsates like a buoy beacon. The riddle's answer circles about me like a flock of gulls. It is, was, will be, changing, changing, changing. Okay, this one's a little shorter. If you've ever driven a taxi or you haven't, you can imagine that taxi drivers sit around and it's almost like fishing, except you catch people that are going on rides, And so this is about a taxi driver facing a shift in front of him and being very optimistic. So this is called Taxi Driver's Twilight Dream. Tonight will be the night that everyone, everywhere will want a cab. The whole human race will change position and there'll be fares to exotic places, wait and return trips to Venus, midnight motorings past Mars, and I'll travel to Saturn with a queen and her entourage in back seeking my opinion on matters that will ultimately become policy. Tonight the sky will open wide and the Godhead will descend in a fine netted mist and drape the earth in holy oneness. Yes, tonight will be the night you come back to me for good, and all the broken promises will be mended. Okay, this is about, I have a brother who's gravely ill. I went to see him. I was on the plane, I wrote this. Just a chance for me to remember him, I guess, in public. The last leg of travel, and I relax, open my mind, and then only then remember why I'm on the road this time. The old habits, curiosities, cravings, and flirtations follow us into the grave. Excitements and vanities pop up in turns. Devices arise to pass time, and the day goes slowly away. So I'm waiting for this plane to push back, and I remember you are no longer a runner or not even mobile or in fact dying faster than most of us. My bones groan with age and accumulated grief. Even when I'm not awake, my skeleton tells me of your illness, tingles with sorrow over our temporal state. News of your condition telegraphs over oceans, past stars without benefit of battery or wire. So it's the last leg, summer coming, the plane pushes back, and in a few hours we meet again, one more time. Okay, so this one's, how am I doing for time? I got a few more minutes, I guess, huh? I got two more, 2 or 3 more, but this one's long, so maybe one more. As long as the first one requires. I took a trip to Montreal by car, and I was really nervous. I was with my girlfriend. We were kind of new together, and I was not really feeling very well. And so I wrote this poem along the way. It was a long trip, so it's a long poem. Okay, so it's called On to Montreal. Summer morning, leaving Nova Scotia, and the Tantramar windmills face south into the haze, powerless to cut through it. We're spun like a top into summer. We've hovered over a point, and now we're away. It's on to Montreal. It's a soul-sick morning, and I have my ass parked on a suitcase of fear. We are days together, nights entwined, chain lightning in each other's arms. So much to lose, too much to lose. We're on the road blasting past counties, burning Tim Hortons coffee and regular gasoline, chucking loonies into the coffers of Irving and Joyce. We vaguely witness the miles. It's on to Montreal for a 65th birthday celebration. Robert Kennedy's last public words were, "It's on to Chicago, and let's win there." Words that ring, that echo like gunshots, eternal in my mind. Just past noon, rolling past the trees of New Brunswick that gasp and groan with growing pains in the heat, inhaling the carbon gas of automobiles and power plants from New York to Toronto. Periodically, they are mowed down to make toothpicks, 2x4s, and toilet paper. Moose are dislodged. Raccoons, fox, and porcupines scatter. The deer, like us, go on the road. These days are stretched like muslin over forested frames, peppered with electrons that carry information like birdshot. Radio waves contribute an old song that swirls in the wake of our car. We almost sing. My ass still sits on a suitcase where heartbreak, like a caged beast, a furious house cat, claws, hisses, and howls. I plant my ass firmer and steal my eyes toward the horizon. It's on to Montreal. We drive past Gagetown with its green trucks and green men. I believed in war once, believed the moon was green cheese. From the suitcase there were rumblings of helicopters, desert murders, the drone of drone assassinations, ho-hum slaughter, the devil's dull teeth chewing on the very words we use, bags of explosives and ball bearings strapped to laudanumide youth, journalists shot down from behind their cameras, babies torn from their mother's breast into shreds, milk, blood, tears, years dissolved like sugar and water. I whisper to my soul, don't worry, it's almost dinner time. And then it's on to Montreal. Afternoon, and out from behind the wheel, but not out from under it. We're halfway, but fear is seeping like grease through a brown paper bag. She sings as she drives. I want to smile, want to cry. Day has slid into night. The suitcase is burst, and I'm ass-bitten. Fear, like feral cats, pisses everywhere. It's midnight before I can run them off. They have done all they can do to me tonight. I'd sleep, but images of Robert Kennedy and Jimmy Hoffa thunder in my brain. Expectations howl like alley cats out by the proverbial garbage can, and I'm out of proverbial shoes to throw, out of laces, minus feet, immobilized. I wounded us with short-sighted illness, with short-sightedness, sprayed us with illness. We bump and spill on one another. So sorry, my elbows don't obey my shoulders. Still, it's on to Montreal. Sunrise is long buried in the day when we awaken. We're driving and I'm pulling cobwebs of cat piss hangover from my head. I realize she's still with me and some cosmic switch is thrown. Fear scatters. Summer heat sits on my head like a yarmulke. We breakfast at St. Anne's and visit the cathedral where I see my shadow and realize that everything is, and always was, all right. An hour to go, we stop and swim at Three Rivers. Silt and sludge coat the riverbed. The city has grown up like weeds along its banks, as though the river itself was sown amongst the thorns. Back on the road, the highway is crowded, roiling like white water beneath the boiling sun. It's on to Montreal, and I think to myself, let's win there.
Well, he could, honest to God. Well, I think he's in Bob's head, or Bob's in his head, or something.
I got just two more short ones. This one is going to be timely in about 3 weeks when we get the first cold rain. I wrote it a couple years ago. I woke up to go to work and or do some work anyways, and it was raining, and I said, I ain't going outside. And I hadn't eaten breakfast all summer because I was too busy. So it's called September Morning, Cold Wind and Rain. Cold wind and rain, summer is routed, work today is washed out. I'm cooking eggs in honor of the rain, in honor too of the wind that howls through this house with tree-bending life force as though the Godhead was exhaling in meditation. Let go. We're north of the line here, and my love for you has burned through me like molten steel. It has altered the wavelengths of my perception, squeezed sighs from me like the stomping of grapes. I'm making eggs in honor of the rain and freedom. Scrambled, I stand at the stove and watch the pale yellow liquid bubble and congeal. I have a spatula in one hand and a cell phone in the other. Magically, my voice arrives at your house. Maybe you're feeding the cat or eating raisin toast. The sky gray whips the ground with switches of water. The vibration that is your voice tickles my ear. I close my eyes and imagine your tongue tasting like sweetened tea barely touching mine. I flip the eggs from pan to plate. I'm sitting at the table eating eggs in honor of the rain. And last, and do I got time for one more? 2 minutes, 1 minute? No.
Go for it.
All right, this is from last fall, and so it's getting rolling around to be time again. I was eating a watermelon actually it was part of the school lunch at the place where I teach school in Massachusetts, and I was eating it and I was thinking about it, and so I wrote this called Watermelon. Early autumn afternoon, savoring chunks of watermelon as sanguine and cool as the flesh of my youth. I've chucked half a century over my shoulder, a walk in the park, a piece of cake. The variant lives within me begin to intermesh like the workings of a gearbox. Watermelon bursts on the tongue, eyes close, break the surface of a summer late 1967 cicadas humming, roll like a seal in the mind, underwater and surface. Eyes open, I see my hands numb, wrinkled with age. I follow the twisting path of my gnarled fingers through space, time. My eyes estimate the remaining watermelon, the flesh of my old age, pinkish, waiting to be consumed. The world I've known recently shook its mane like a pony in summer. My generation is dispersed like a swarm of flies. Perhaps like flies we circle anew and land again in the shit. Perhaps like autumn leaves we fall into anonymity. Perhaps like watermelon chunks we burst sweetly on the tongues of gods. Thank you very much for your patience and your attention.